I am determined to free you, my brothers, even if it should cost me my life."
And with that, Eliza fell to silence. She left the castle and crossed the vast forest. The next morning she went out, collected starflowers, and began to sew. Finally, she climbed a tree and spent the night there. She could speak to no one, and she had no wish to laugh, so she sat there, looking only at her work. At her home, the good king soon died of a broken heart. Such was his grief for his lost wife and his children, and the stepmother, who was an evil witch, went seeking a new kingdom. When Eliza had lived in the tree some time, it happened that the young prince of the country beyond the forest went hunting. He came to the tree on which Eliza sat.
"Who are you?"
But she gave no answer.
"Come down to me. I will do you no harm."
But she shook her head silently. As he pressed her further with questions, she threw him the golden chain from her neck. But he did not leave off. And she threw him her petticoat. And when this was of no use, she threw her dress. The young prince would not leave her alone, but climbed the tree and lifted the maiden, who was now quite naked, down from the branches. And the prince asked,
"Who are you?"
But she would not answer. He asked her in all the languages he knew, but she remained as dumb as a fish. Despite her silence, she radiated kindness, and the prince's heart was touched. He was seized with a great love for her. He wrapped her up in his cloak, placed her before him on his horse, and brought her to his castle. He had her dressed in rich clothes, and her beauty shone out as bright as day, but not a word could be drawn from her. He set her at table by his side, and her modest ways and behavior pleased him so much that he said,
"I will marry this maiden and none other in the world."
And after some days he married her. But the young prince had a new wicked stepmother who was greatly displeased with the marriage. She was the very witch who had destroyed Eliza's family, come to rule over this neighboring land. The stepmother said wicked things of the silent princess.
"Who knows who this girl is? She cannot speak and is not worthy of a prince."
After a year, when Eliza had her first child, the aging queen took it away from her. She cast the baby down a deep well and dashed away. In the dawn she went to the prince and said that the princess had killed the child. The prince would not believe it and would not allow any harm to be done to his wife. Eliza's heart broke afresh, but she sat quietly sewing at the flower shirts and troubling herself about nothing. In time, she had another child, and the wicked stepmother stole it away and cast it down the well. The prince could not make up his mind to believe her accusations.
"She is too sweet and good to do harm to a child. I am sure it is the work of bad magic. If she were not dumb and could defend herself, I am sure her innocence would be proved."
But then a third child was taken away to the well, and the princess was again accused, and could not utter a word in her own defense. The prince was helpless but to give her over to the law, and the law decreed that she must be burnt to death. When the day came on which the sentence was to be carried out, it was the last day of the 6 years in which Eliza must not speak or laugh. She had kept her vows and could soon free her dear brothers from the power of the enchantment. The 6 shirts were nearly done. There was only the left sleeve of the last shirt wanting to be spun. When Eliza was led to the stake, she wove all the while. The fire was about to be lighted. She was made to lay the shirts before her. As the first tinder caught, she looked around her and saw 6 swans flying through the air. Then she saw that her release was at hand, and her heart danced, and her tears gushed forth, drowning out the flames. The swans fluttered round her and hovered so low that she could throw the shirts over them. When they had touched the flower shirts, the swan skins fell away, and her brothers stood before her, living, well, and beautiful. Only the youngest brother, with the unfinished shirt sleeve, had a swan's wing instead of his left arm.
They embraced and kissed one another.
Sister, your vows have broken the curse.
We were near you all the while.
When the stepmother cast your babies down the well, we swept in and kept them safe.
They are near and awaiting their mother.
And her brothers lifted her from the pyre. And the Princess Eliza went to the prince, who was standing by in great astonishment, and she began, at long last, to speak to him.
Dearest husband, now I can speak and tell you openly that I am innocent and have been falsely accused.
She told him of the stepmother's deceit, and how she had taken her father, her brothers, and the 3 children from her bosom. The children were fetched to the great joy of their mother and father prince. The wicked queen was burnt as a witch on the very pyre she'd laid for the Princess Eliza. Soon the prince became king, and Eliza became his queen. They spoke freely. Full of conversation was their love. With their growing children and 6 brothers, they lived many years in happiness and peace. The sons thought it was their dear